going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
This effort, and China has big plans for this. They intend to seed their digital yuan into the global environment by giving it away to visitors at next winter's Olympics. When they arrive at the airport, they're going to get yuan digital wallets. They're going to receive digital yuan. They're going to use it throughout their visits to Beijing, and then they're going to take it back to their home countries. They see this as a huge advantage. Why? Because who controls the underlying protocols, who controls the underlying standards of the future of money will control the future of money.
The chart is Coinbase, down over 23% in 1 month. But Kevin O'Leary, you are not deterred. Even with some weakness in the crypto space, you are buying more Coinbase. How come?
You got to remember the story of the stock. One of the reasons it really had a downturn, it got into let's call it a tussle with the regulator regarding a product called loan, or actually lend it was called. And the idea was that they would stake stablecoin and make 6, 8, 9% interest. Now, this idea of staking stablecoin is being permitted in other jurisdictions, in Switzerland, in Canada, in Australia, in parts of the United Arab Emirates is being considered. And so regulators are changing their minds about this. Most of it is around USDC, the Xrp product, which started just, I don't know, a year ago with $2 billion under assets, and now it's $30 billion, including institutional holdings. So the play on Coinbase is crypto infrastructure. They're going to go to other jurisdictions where they're allowed to allow staking because they're a global platform. And so they're getting very savvy at it. They're going to different geographies and putting out the lend product there. And I think that's the beginning of the tonal change that's going to occur in our own country. You saw that Jeremy Allaire just in the last few days is in front of Congress. He's willing to turn his whole circle into a bank and be federally regulated just to get USDC as a product for institutions. I like the direction of this. And so for me, I'm looking for infrastructure. And Coinbase is one of those global platforms, millions of accounts. And as soon as these products get turned on, you have to prove your geography. You have to have an IP address that's allowed in. But it's no different than FTX or Binance. They're doing the same thing. So if you're into crypto, and I know we're debating whether you should be in crypto or not, it's a binary decision. Either you like it or you don't. I'm in the like it camp. And so I'm looking for ways to diversify my portfolio. Coinbase is one way to do that.
Okay. Hey, Rob, very quickly, your thoughts on crypto. Tom Lee and Fundstrat putting out a note. I apologize. I'm looking down to read it. Basically, a European central bank official on the tape saying that it's negative for society. It impacts mining and the environment. Criminals use it, and there's lack of investor protection. So at least one ECB official coming out and kind of throwing some cold water on crypto. Maybe it won't matter at all. What do you think?
So I think you got to bet on the ecosystem, the crypto ecosystem. Listen, every now and then something comes along to knock us into a different atmosphere. It's disruptive. The internet in the late 90s, right now we think that that's blockchain, that's crypto, and most people are betting on the blue chips. We are too. Anybody can tolerate a 5% volatility in their portfolio. So if you put 5% in and it ends up not working out, you're going to be fine. But it is attracting some of the brightest minds in finance. When you look at the ex-president at Morgan Stanley, Zoe Cruz, launched a platform called Manai, which is a use case investment strategy in crypto. Listen, this is game changing. And I think it's going to disrupt the financial system. Naturally, there's going to be naysayers. So we are investing in crypto. We're doing it thoughtfully. Want to make the right decisions and think other investors should too.
Okay.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And guys, I come back with that video just to make you think. And we have Kevin O'Leary speaking of stablecoins. And yes, stablecoins are the foundation of the crypto market. We know stablecoins are going to still keep the central banks in power. But we know the New World Order uses the Hegelian dialectic. So we're going to have some leaders for it, some leaders against it, but that's the way they move us to this fourth industrial revolution. And as inflation is heating up, and we know it's heating up, but we know who caused it. That's right, the Fed, the banks, the central banks. It is going to destroy fiat and bring on these stable coins. But you know what I'm waiting on? That main event that's going to signal China as the rise, the dragon, the digital yuan as the new world reserve currency backed by that digital SDR, and move globally through XRP and Xlm. And how does a crypto teacher knows? Because he knows. When it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
One of you guys want to volunteer for Beavis? You know what the other guy has to be. Oh! Anyway, let's. The numbers is coming in, and you guys can argue about that. I'm sure viewers can't decide. What is the number?
All right, it's now 8:30 on the dot. We're awaiting these numbers, of course. It's the November read on Consumer Price Index, up 0.8 on headline. That, in a way, is good news because that 0.9 in the rearview mirror was the highest level since 2008. Let's call it 13 years. If you strip out the all-important food and energy, it's up 0.5%, up 4.5, and that is moderating from some of the recent higher levels, and that is a good thing. But here's the Moneyball numbers year over year. Year over year, up 6.8, and this, of course, is a new record. That is the highest level since June of 1982. And if we look at X, food and energy, year over year, it's up 4.9. And that also is a high water mark. That is the highest level since June of 1991. We'll call it 30 years. These numbers were expected. As a matter of fact, on the year-over-year numbers, the analysts and sources I talked to nailed it. They had the predictions right on. And if you look at what's going on with the interest rate complex, it really isn't moving all that much on any of them. We were testing the 70 over 70 level in twos. It's right there. It dipped a bit. Now it's right there. We're hovering right around and below 150. And many are probably scratching their heads why. I think much of this was built in. I still think that there are many that believe some of these issues will moderate. But as your last guest, the topic was energy. I will continue to hang my hat on some of these longer-term predictions that lack of investment in the energy complex due to policy mistakes and the handoff from fossil to renewable is going to definitely continue to put upward pressure on these. Many think we're going to see 125 to 150 in the years ahead on crude oil, and I'm not sure that I can disagree with that. Joe, back to you.
But they don't produce inflation for one simple reason. They do not own a printing press on which you can turn out green pieces of paper. The only such printing press is in Washington. I say printing press, of course, in the modern age we do it in a more sophisticated way. We use bookkeepers and accountants and computers. But it comes down to the same thing. Inflation is made in Washington because only Washington can create money.
The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends. So therefore, we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the fourth industrial revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.